Imagine you're in an interview, and the interviewer asks, "How would you describe your ideal manager?" It sounds easy, right? You may think, okay, I just need to describe a good boss. So you say, I want a manager who is friendly, supportive, and understanding. Nothing sounds wrong with that answer. But here's what makes this question tricky. The interviewer may not really be asking about your manager. They may be trying to understand you.
Me? But they asked about my ideal manager.
Exactly. And that's why this question can be easy to misunderstand. When you describe the manager you want, you may also reveal how you like to work. Do you need someone to guide you all the time? Can you work independently? How do you handle feedback? And what happens when your manager's style is different from what you prefer?
Oh, so my answer could make me sound difficult to manage without me realizing it?
Yes. And sometimes a very positive answer can still create doubt. So before you describe your perfect manager, let's understand what the interviewer may actually be listening for.
Okay, now I'm curious. Let's get started.
Okay, Tom. When candidates hear "describe your ideal manager," they usually think about what they want. Maybe you had a manager who gave you very little support, so now you want someone who communicates more. Maybe your previous manager checked every small thing you did, so now you want more freedom. Or maybe you're nervous about making mistakes, so you want a manager who gives you clear direction.
That sounds very real. We naturally think about our own experience.
And there's nothing wrong with having preferences. But here's where candidates need to be careful. While you are thinking about what you need from a manager, the interviewer is thinking about what you will be like as an employee. Those are two very different perspectives.
So they're listening for more than the qualities I mentioned?
Much more. For example, imagine you say, "My ideal manager gives me clear instructions and is always available when I need help." You may simply mean, "I like good communication," but the interviewer may hear, "Will this person need a lot of guidance? Can they solve problems on their own? What happens when the manager is busy?" That's the first thing they may be evaluating. Independence. They want to know whether you can take responsibility once you understand the job.
So even a positive answer can create a question in their mind.
Exactly. Now think about another candidate who says, "I want a manager who respects my ideas and doesn't criticize me too much." The candidate may have a bad experience before. Maybe they felt ignored or judged. So emotionally, that answer makes sense. But the interviewer doesn't know that whole story. They may start wondering, how does this person react when they receive difficult feedback? That's the second thing they're listening for, how you handle feedback. A company doesn't expect you to agree with your manager all the time, but they do want to know that you can listen, learn, and have a professional conversation when you disagree.
I think this is where candidates can accidentally say too much.
Absolutely. Sometimes we're trying to explain what we want, but we actually reveal what has frustrated us in the past, and that can change the feeling of the answer. There's another important point: communication. If you say, "I work well with a manager who communicates expectations clearly," you're showing that clear communication helps you perform well. But if you say, "I need my manager to tell me exactly what to do," the message feels very different. One sounds like a professional preference, the other can sound like dependence.
Same idea, but a very different impression.
And finally, the interviewer may be thinking about adaptability, because there's something you don't know. You may already be sitting across from the manager you'll work with.
Oh, so they may be comparing my answer with their own management style.
Exactly. Imagine you say, "I only work well with managers who give me a lot of freedom, but this team has regular check-ins and close communication." Now the interviewer may see a possible mismatch. That doesn't mean you should pretend to like every management style. It means your answer should show two things at the same time. You understand what helps you work well, but you can also adapt. That balance is powerful. So here's the shift I want you to remember. Don't only ask yourself, what do I want from my manager? Ask, what does my answer tell the interviewer about me? Does it show that you can work independently? Can you receive feedback? Can you communicate professionally? Can you adjust when someone works differently from you? Because your ideal manager is only half of the answer. The other half is the employee you reveal yourself to be.
Now I see why this simple question says so much about the candidate. So how can we build an answer that sends the right message?
Now we know what may be behind this question, so let's turn that understanding into an answer. Remember 3 C's: clarity, communication, and confidence.
Let's start with clarity.
For clarity, talk about a manager who makes the team understand the direction. Instead of focusing on instructions, you can say, I value a manager who makes priorities clear so the team knows what matters most. This sounds professional because you're focused on the work, not on how much help you need.
Okay, what about communication?
Here, show that you want a healthy exchange of ideas. For example, I enjoy working with a manager who welcomes questions and different ideas. This shows that you're comfortable speaking up, listening, and working through ideas together.
And confidence.
Confidence is about being given ownership. You could say, I appreciate being given responsibility and the chance to take ownership of my work. That tells the interviewer you don't just wait for someone else to make every decision.
Can we put the 3 together?
Absolutely. My ideal manager is someone who makes priorities clear and encourages the team to share ideas. I also value being given responsibility because I enjoy taking ownership of my work. For me, a good manager helps the team move in the same direction while giving people room to do their best.
That feels different. I'm talking about the manager, but I'm also showing what kind of employee I am.
Right. That's what makes the answer strong. But knowing what to say is only half the job. You also need to know what can weaken your answer.
Then let's look at the common mistakes candidates should avoid.
Okay, Tom, let's look at 3 mistakes that can weaken your answer.
What's the first one?
Mistake number 1, creating a long wish list. You might say, I want a manager who is patient, friendly, flexible, supportive, and always ready to help me. These qualities sound positive, but together they can make it seem like you need the manager to create perfect conditions for you.
Okay, what's mistake number 2?
Talking about what you hate. For example, I don't like managers who control everything I do. Even if that's true, avoid negative language. It can make the interviewer wonder how you respond to authority or supervision. Instead, keep the focus on what helps you perform well.
And the third mistake?
Complaining about a former manager. Don't say, my previous manager never listened to me, so I don't want that again. Now the interviewer may start thinking about your past conflict instead of your strengths. Remember this simple rule. Don't describe the manager you want to avoid. Describe the working relationship you want to build.
That makes sense. Now let's see how a candidate can handle this question in a real interview.
Now I'd like to learn a little more about how you work. How would you describe your ideal manager?
I work best with a manager who makes priorities clear and encourages the team to share ideas. I also appreciate being given responsibility because I enjoy taking ownership of my work. For me, a good manager helps the team stay focused while giving people room to do their best.
What if your manager has a different working style from what you prefer?
I think that's normal. Every manager works differently. I would first try to understand their expectations and how they communicate. Then I would adjust the way I work so we can work well together.
Good. And what would you do if you disagreed with a decision your manager made?
I would listen first and make sure I understand the reason behind the decision. If I had another idea, I would share it respectfully and explain why I think it could help. But I also understand that sometimes the manager has information I may not have.
That's a good approach. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. I believe a good working relationship comes from respect, communication, and being willing to understand each other.
So today we learned that describe your ideal manager is not only a question about the manager you want.
Your answer also shows the interviewer how you work.
Exactly. Remember the 3C framework: clarity, communication, and confidence. Talk about what helps you work effectively, but don't create a long list of demands.
And avoid complaining about managers you worked with before.
Right. You want to show that you know what helps you perform well, while still being flexible enough to work with different people. Your goal is not to find a perfect manager. Your goal is to show that you can build a professional working relationship with your manager.
That's a much better way to think about this question.
Now practice your own answer in the comments. And if this lesson helped you, subscribe to Focus English with CC for more simple, practical English for your next job interview.
Keep learning, keep practicing. Thanks for learning with us. See you next time.
Bye-bye.